Hey guys, my name is Lilly and today I have a couple of news for you that you might have missed in the mainstream media. So today I want to start with the first news, which is quite concerning, but a lot of people don't realize it. So this is an article that comes from Germany, and they are saying that if you give back your driving license, you will get a free ticket for public transport in Germany. So apparently a couple of German cities are participating in this program. Now usually it was just for elderly people, so if somebody got too old they could give back their driving license and then they would get a free ticket, which is fine. But now everybody can give back their driving license. So I think it's pretty clear that they have tried to make the car the culprit for climate change, of course, and the car is so evil. And it's pretty clear that they want to take away private cars from us or make it really hard to have a private car.
And it is time for the Hot Topic Buzz. So get this, the World Economic Forum is now looking to reduce ownership of private vehicles.
Automatically guided car, a self-driven car, will come to your hotel or wherever you are and will bring you to the airport. No, Los Angeles is one of the cities with the heaviest traffic, who told me in 2030 Los Angeles will be private car driven free. And this will allow to transform highways into parks and other public spheres.
It's pretty clear that the elites and politicians want us to have no car or only very limited abilities to travel. And traveling is freedom. So I don't understand why somebody would give back their license, their driving license, which is actually really expensive. So if you make a driving license here in Europe, I believe in my country it cost me like 850 euros to get a driving license for the car. So I'm not going to trade my driving license that costs 850 euros or more for a free ticket to travel with the train and bus. So actually there might come some time when there's no gas and diesel for whatever reason, and when we cannot use our cars anymore. Maybe it will be too restrictive or too expensive, who knows. So in that case I already have a plan. I'm going to go with my e-bike, and I really do love my e-bike. I have an e-bike by ENGWER, it's the L20 that I really love, and I have the old version of the L20 actually, but now they have brought up the new version, which is the L20 Boost version. And this bike is really cool. It looks basically exactly the same like the old model, but it also comes with this boost button where for a short period of time the motor can deliver a little bit more energy, and then you can go up a hill more easily. So I really do love this e-bike, and you can go and ride it in the forest, for example. It can easily ride on forest roads with the big tires. It has some fat tires with 20 inches. So riding in the forest or on forest roads is really not a problem, and it's quite powerful as well. So you can go really fast. 25 kilometers per hour is the limit here in Europe. And the great thing is that you don't need insurance for this bike. It doesn't cost me any money. And I have built a solar system, so I'm charging my e-bike for free with just a solar panel and a small solar island solar system. And also I have a solar blanket, so I can recharge this e-bike in the field. And that's really the coolest thing. So for me, that's freedom and independence. I think it's a great vehicle. It helps you save money if you don't have to go by car, so you can go shopping with the e-bike. And also, I believe that it's a great bug-out vehicle in case if all of the streets are completely clogged. Let's say there's a traffic jam because there was some kind of disaster and people try to get away from the city, then at least you can go with your e-bike and get out of the city. So I think e-bikes are awesome and I really like mine, the L20, and now I also have the new version, which is the L20 Boost. And if you're interested in this bike, I can highly recommend it. You will find a link in the description below. Alright, so next, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but actually we are having strong aurora borealis in Europe. So every month or so we are now getting solar storms, and we can see it with the northern lights, even down to Vienna. And this is not normal, guys. This is not normal. Never before can I remember that before this sun cycle we had northern lights in Austria. It might have happened a couple of times, but not on a regular basis like this. So we got a really strong northern light in May, and also a couple of times where you almost could see something, and now again in a lot of parts of Europe you can see the northern lights. Now, most people think, so what, this is not so important, right? But actually it is. Now, the reason why we see northern lights in Austria, for example, is not because those CMEs are particularly strong, but it's because our magnetic field is getting really weak. It's so weak now that the poles, the magnetic poles, are wandering 50 kilometers a year instead of just 5 kilometers in 80-50. And what's really shocking is that we already have lost 15% of our magnetic field in 2010. But now it's 2024, so now we've lost even more. So that's a topic that I definitely will have an eye on in future, because I always thought, CMEs, it's not going to happen. The chance is very slim that we will get a full hit from a CME, but actually with a very weak magnetic field, even a small solar storm can wreak havoc here on Earth. And in this regard, I'm watching a really good YouTube channel, Ben Davidson. I was binge watching his channel for 2 months actually and learned a lot. And the CME threat is much higher than I've expected. So yeah, back on the radar, very important, and I'm definitely prepping for it by having all of my electronics in a Faraday bag or Faraday cage. Alright, then here we have some other news. Unfortunately, there will be a European vaccination card, which will be piloted first in 5 countries. The first countries will be Latvia, Greece, Belgium, Germany and Portugal, and they will start with this tool from September. So in these countries people will get a European vaccination card, and that will enable informed vaccination according to experts, whatever this means. It will enable informed vaccination. I don't know what this exactly means, but I believe it might go into the direction that if you don't get a vaccine, you cannot travel, you cannot go abroad, you cannot send your kids to kindergarten or something. So it will be something like this, and this is really concerning. Okay, next. In Austria we are missing 2,100 doctors, right? So we have a lack of doctors, and I'm not surprised. The way that they have treated the doctors during the pandemic is really shocking. A lot of doctors and also nurses have quit their jobs, and a lot of doctors are now just doing private practice. They don't want to practice in the hospital anymore, and that's also slowly getting a problem. And we are paying so many taxes here in Europe. Here in Austria we pay about 43% average of taxes for free healthcare. But you know, then you also have to pay your teeth yourself. So if you need an implant, you have to still pay it yourself. So it's not everything that it's paid for. It's not completely for free, but still the taxes are really high. And some people, they wait 1 year to get an appointment for a doctor now. And that's really crazy. So if you have some issue, some health issue right now and you need a surgery, I know some mothers, their kids, they need to wait like 1 year to get a surgery for the ear. Yeah, it's crazy, guys. It's crazy what's going on. Okay, the next topic that I want to talk about is Germany again. Germany is really important for Europe because, first of all, Germany is a power horse and it has a lot of industry. And everything that happens in Germany usually also happens in other European countries a little bit later. So this is why we always look at Germany and what's Germany doing. So here in this article they are saying that wood, if you burn wood for warming your house, for example, it's harming the climate suddenly. And the government of Germany wants to tax, they want to put a CO2 tax on firewood. Crazy, right? It's crazy, guys. We all know that wood is CO2 neutral. It's not warming the climate and it never has. And you can easily heat a house if you have central heating with a wood stove and it's CO2 neutral. But now they are lying about the facts. So now experts are talking against this plan that the government of Germany wants to put a CO2 tax on wood. So I'm really glad that now the experts are siding with common sense, which is not always the case, right? So this is just another proof that governments, they really are desperate to tax us. And that's because they need so much money for their luxury projects. Like, for example, they want to renovate the EU Parliament for 455 million euros. And for those projects, of course, they need money. And if a government needs money, they just raise taxes. Also now they need more money for the war because a lot of our tax money goes to Brussels and then it goes right to Ukraine. So you can see that the German government is desperate for taxes. And there's actually no wonder why, because here there's another article which is stating that in Germany a deindustrialization has begun. So a lot of big companies, they are going abroad and they don't want to work and have their factories in Germany anymore. And that's because of high energy prices. So most of the time, you know, when the energy prices are rising, it's impossible to pay for energy prices. And then usually companies search for cheaper places to go, cheaper countries with less taxes. So this is not surprising. And because they are now losing the industry, they now try to tax the citizens. Now here in Austria, we even have another problem with taxes. The problem is that the taxes, the income tax is rising exponentially the more money you earn. So actually what's good is that underneath 11,000 euros you pay 0 taxes. But then the curve goes up like this. So here, for example, you can see that if you are working 100% more, so let's say from 20 hours to 40 hours, you're actually only earning 67% more instead of 100%. Now in Hungary that's different. If you work 100% more in Hungary, then you will get 100% more of income. And this is why now in Austria a lot of people say they don't want to work 40 hours anymore because for just 300 euros more it's not paying off. Okay, in the next article here you can see that they now want to give lab-grown meat to pets. Okay, UK first European country to approve lab-grown meat, starting with pet food. Now they also want to make lab-made butter, and here they state that it tastes like the real thing, of course. Sure. And here it's saying that the lab-grown butter has a lower carbon footprint, but this is actually not correct, because a lab needs appliances, and this lab butter is grown inside of pressure cookers or growing tanks. They need a lot of electricity. So this lab-grown butter can never be environmentally friendly or CO2 neutral. But actually the cow is. The cow is CO2 neutral because a cow is not using fossil fuels when it's eating and burping. Now when a cow eats grass, it's digesting the CO2 which was previously photosynthesized by grass. So if wood is CO2 neutral, then the grass is also CO2 neutral. So if the cow only eats grass, then it's CO2 neutral. And then some people say, yeah, it's still contributing to climate change because of the methane. But the methane is not the problem, because there's a CO2 cycle and there's a methane cycle. And the methane cycle is actually only 5 to 7 years. So in 5 to 7 years, the methane that the cow burps out will be broken down to CO2. And then the plants and the trees can take up the CO2 again, and the grass that the cow is then eating again. And here we have another article. This one here. New research suggests plants might be able to absorb more CO2 from human activities than previously expected. And this is true. This is also what I learned in forestry school. In forestry school, we learned that if there's a higher CO2 level in the atmosphere, that the trees will grow faster. They will grow faster because they have more CO2, which is important for photosynthesis, so it's a fertilizer for the plants. And this is also the reason why a lot of people who have greenhouses, they elevate the CO2 level inside of the greenhouse, because then they will get more harvest. And they will get significantly more harvest. Okay. So here I found this article that I was searching for. In New Zealand, they plan to tax cow and sheep burps. This is no joke, this is real. So New Zealand has unveiled a plan to tax sheep and cattle burps in a bid to tackle one of the country's biggest sources of greenhouse gases. So now they want to tax the farmer, so that the farmer cannot make a living anymore, and then they will close their businesses. Then the price of meat will surge, and then the lab-grown meat becomes competitive. Because right now, lab-grown meat is very expensive, and it's not competitive because the production of lab-grown meat takes so much electricity and resources, so they cannot compete with the normal meat prices. Now, last but not least, I would like to show you a couple of photos that I took in the supermarket. So first of all, this photo here. It's a price tag of onions. These are conventionally grown onions, which are not organic. So pesticides have been sprayed on these onions. And here the price is €1.49 for 1 kilogram of onions. So that's actually quite cheap. I believe it's quite cheap because if you take a look at the price at organic onions, here it's saying that 1 kilogram of organic onions costs €5.85. Yeah, pretty crazy, I have to say. That's really crazy. I'm really happy that this year I've harvested a lot of onions from my small garden. Let's do a quick calculation. So I saved €150 just by growing my onions this year. So this is really good. I'm really happy. So the prices are surging, especially organic produce, and a lot of people, they are not buying stuff anymore, a lot of expensive stuff. So I'm talking to many business owners, and they are really complaining that people just don't have the money anymore to spend on luxury products. I was talking to a weaponsmith, and he said that people just buy ammunition and clothes, I don't know, hunting clothes and accessories, but they don't buy new weapons anymore. So if they are buying a gun or a pistol or rifle, they usually just buy it used, and yeah, they don't buy new because the new price is just really ridiculous, very expensive. So people don't have the money anymore. I think most people, they have really no savings anymore because of the inflation situation and because of the bad economy. Economically, we are not doing good right now. Alright, so this is it, guys. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned till next time and make sure that you go on my Twitter account if you want to get the real news.